What up? Welcome back to another Tuesday upload. I think that's probably going to be a schedule I stick to from now on, so every other Tuesday, expect an upload. Sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat this week. So this week we're deciding how indecisive can I be when it comes to shooting my photography. I think one of the key parts of every photo shoot is deciding the style in which you're going to be editing your photos afterwards. Now, a lot of people, they like to use pre-made LUTs or presets, and they apply these to every photo that they take. But I personally prefer to do the editing myself. However, as with this week, I ended up editing in two very different styles, and quite frankly, I'm not sure which I prefer. I think at the end of the day, all art is just subjective. There is no right or wrong answer, but let me know what you think is the better edit here, and then we'll see who thinks which one's best. So as you saw from these opening shots, the two styles I went for this week, one was a far more natural look and the other one went with a more what I'm calling a green hue. I think it had like a nice a vintage kind of film style to it. I think both work well in their own respective way. However, I think the car looks better in the more natural style. I think the silver of the Lexus looks better. But in the green hue, I think the landscapes look a lot nicer, and I think it complements the tones of the day. This week, we were heading off to South Wales. Earlier in the week, I had been doing a bit of scouting on Google Maps, and I had come across this location called the Blue Lagoon. No, this is not the geothermal one in Iceland that everyone goes to for Instagram photos. This is the Blue Lagoon located in South Wales. So what was the purpose of this trip? Well, my mate Leo has a 1990s Lexus IS200 and he's getting rid of it soon. So as a nice send-off, we thought we would go and get one final photo shoot with it. So with that, we hopped to Tesco, grabbed some snacks, and took the box out to the countryside. Finally, after driving for a while, we made it to the outskirts of a place that I can only say as Tugpent Ways. Once on location, I figured I would get those first few shots out of the way and see how they turned out. And quite frankly, I'm really happy with them. The greeny texture here really complements the style of the car that we were shooting. I think it worked really well. And the brown winter colors in the background really bring out the silver of the car nicely. These were the early winter of the day, and honestly, from this point onwards, I think these are probably the best shots of the day. So adjust your expectations now. This first location was absolutely stunning. The views down the valley were incredible. However, after walking a little bit further, we realized there wasn't really anywhere else we could go. So I managed to snap a few shots and then we headed back up the hill. The landscapes up here were absolutely incredible. I've not really spent a huge amount of time in South Wales, so to be out here was really a privilege, and I will definitely be coming back. Hello, horses. The day was also quite misty, and if anything, I think that actually worked out in our favor. I think it added a lot more mood and a certain style to the photos that I don't think we would have gotten if it had been a clear sunny day.
There's a abandoned barn that way.
Having been on the hunt for the lagoon, this certainly wasn't the news we were expecting, but which photographer doesn't love an abandoned barn? So with that, we went in search for it. A short drive later, we found this barn, and I'm going to call it Leo's barn. You're welcome. However, Leo's barn looked fairly inaccessible, mostly due to the farmers stood next to it that didn't look too pleased at our car. So we decided to make better of it, and we decided to just stay the other side of the wall for now. As I just said, I think abandoned structures always make for good photography, but I think you need far better lighting conditions, and I don't think this day was really set for that. I think you just need the sunlight to hit the barn in certain angles and create these shapes. And on a misty day like today, I just don't think we found that. I think there's another reason that photographers always like abandoned buildings though. I think it lets us capture something that's gone, something that came and is no longer here. It makes you reflect and look back on those structures and think, I wonder what came before this. What was this building like when it used to be used every day? And whose footsteps am I treading in now? Anyway, enough being philosophical, let's get on with the trip. Finally, we made it to a little lay-by that I thought would be our best bet at finding access to this lagoon. But before that, we figured this was a great shot to take some photos. After taking some pretty good photos, we decided to look at Google Maps, and we figured that there was a path down to the lagoon from where we were. So with that, we got on our way. After a while, it became apparent that we had probably taken a wrong turn, and very quickly it became pretty obvious that there was no way of finding this lagoon. There was this wall with a load of barbed wire on the fencing next to us, so it didn't look very accessible, and further down, the track was just becoming inaccessible too. It was a shame really, but we decided to make the most of it and carry on to try to take some good photos. Whilst we were on our walk back, the mist certainly descended, but it, again, made for some really nice photos. I think the car here looks amazing, and quite frankly, I really like the mood that the mist added. I can find that. Finally. I didn't think we'd ever make it back. I'm slightly disappointed we didn't manage to find that lagoon that I've been looking forward to taking some photos at, especially because recently I converted one of my old digicams into infrared and I wanted to see how that worked, but that's a video for another day. I also think it's definitely worth revisiting here when the lighting conditions are different. It will be an interesting experiment to see which type of conditions complement car photography the best. I think the misty conditions today worked out quite well. It added quite a lot of mood. However, I do think with a bit of sun, there is definitely also some better shots to be had. I think that the different lighting conditions would also affect your editing style, as you edit a photo based on what you think looks good in the certain scenario. So I think you really would end up with two very different looking photos from the exact same location. So it's definitely somewhere that I'd be interested in going back to in the future. So if anyone wants a car shoot, then be sure to comment below. So rounding up, of the two edits, I think these were the best of the more natural stuff. And this particular shot, I'm actually considering printing out and getting framed. I think it's absolutely stunning. Of the more green hue edit, as I'm referring to it, these three were my favorite shots of the day. I really like how the water looks here, and quite frankly, I do like this sort of grainy, washed out green hue look that adds a slight film element to it. Speaking of film, I did recently pick up a Olympus XA2, so look out for that video soon. It will be my first time shooting film. What could go wrong? Anyway, if you made it this far through the video, then thank you very much. And if you want to check out more of the shots I got of the day, then be sure to head over to my Instagram. I've posted a few shots over there, and I think I've just about worked out the new aspect ratio. Thank you, Meta.